And I wanted to ask you a little bit more about the Raekwon project because he had already had the purple tape out. So I'm just asking, from your perspective, did you feel any sort of pressure going into that second
Gosh.
album? Because it was that, you know what I'm saying? That's a classic. You know what I'm saying?
So so listen. So pr- pressure, pressure. Like it was beyond pressure. It was so much because remember we was on it twofold. We was on it as producers and we was on it as A&R. Like that's so that was my cousin and myself, we A&R that with Mel, rest in peace, Carter. And so we were responsible not just for, you know, getting the album done, but we was also trying to produce parts of it and so forth and so on. Like we kind of fell into the whole A&R part of it because we were so tied up with Power and them that, because we had did that album and then they were doing the black and white movie at the same time and we were doing both. So we were just with them so much that it just kind of was like, oh, they're the A&Rs at this point because they're from the label anyway. So the pressure was crazy because, like you said, the purple tape. This is the purple tape. Like the purple tape, is probably one of the most revered albums in history, next to kind of Illmatic. You know that, I know that. We knew that was a situation. In all honesty, we really thought that RZA was going to be part of that album. We knew that he wanted to expand his sound, but we all felt that it was going to be RZA plus ourselves, Trifling Dawn. You know, shout out to him. We thought it was going to be more of that kind of collaborative effort where he took the head lead on it. You know, but at the time there was, I don't want to say there was a fracture, but there was something that was going on behind the scenes that we weren't really privy to, and that didn't happen. You know, so from our vantage point, we were trying to see how we can make it as close to what he had came out with before, but he honestly wasn't in the mind frame to make a purple tape two. He wasn't there. He didn't want to create another Cuban Links. That's the reality of it. And then the album that we got, that the masses got, isn't the album that was totally constructed. We had a lot of sample issues, and that's what really created, the album that we currently have. But the reality of the situation is that we had D Dot on that. We had more Hitman stuff on that. There was a lot of, Ray had access to everyone at the time, and I can only say that because I traveled with him and I was with him on the road for months at a time. So we were recording every day and different producers were coming. They were coming. Like, you know, I was in those rooms and I was listening to those songs being done, so some of them just didn't clear. Some of them just wanted too much money. And the album as we had it constructed isn't really what the public got. Public got what was able to be cleared and so forth and so on. But some of the songs that he recorded, I think he recorded upwards of 50 songs back then. And back then, it was unheard of. So he had recorded so many records and he was doing so many collaborations and he was doing features and he had, you know, Keith Sweat came through at one time to be on the album. Like, there was so many things that was going on that just didn't make the album, you know. So it was like what the masses got and what he really had in the chamber was kind of a, I don't want to say a watered down, but some of the other things, had the masses had gotten it the way that he had totally constructed it, I think it would have been received way, way, way better. Still a gold album, but at the end of the day, I think it could have been a little bit more critically acclaimed because I don't think folks were really ready for where he wanted to go as an artist. Because it's kind of like when people know that they got, like once people know that they can do another Illmatic or another, they don't go back to that immediately. They kind of hold that because, once everything starts to decline, and they can kind of go back to that and then kind of re-jump themselves up. So smart artists don't always put it all out like that in succession. If you look at like a Kendrick Lamar and these guys, the next album never sounds like the previous one, and that's by design to make sure that they can give them their careers some more longevity. Like that's really the trick.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, that make a lot of sense. Now, I was gonna ask you, like you say, y'all recorded 50 songs. Like a lot of these artists, they record so many songs that never see the light of day. Like, is it a reason why? Because the fans will be, thirsty to hear like some of them songs. Is it just like a rap for them songs, or what keeps all of those songs from coming out?
Honestly, I would say the reason why a lot of those songs don't come out at this point is because they probably on antiquated media. Most of them will probably most of those songs were done on reels and stuff before Pro Tools. Right. So you would have to have an analog reel machine. Those machines are normally like $100,000. Like you would have to go back to an old school studio, bring all the tapes back in, load them back up, then record them back to a digital medium. Sometimes you would have them on DATs. Again, that's another platform that people don't use anymore. Just old digital audio tapes. Um, a lot of that stuff just gets lost in the source, and because of sample issues and people don't want to be sued, they don't release the music. Like we have a ton of unreleased records with Nas too. They just they may never come out. They may hit a lost tapes, they may not. But depending on a lot of time with the sample issues, it creates a lot of obstacles. That's why we preach so much now these days to artists. Hey man, lay off the samples if you don't need it, if they're not royalty free. It really stopped a lot of the records that we were putting out from coming out.
Oh wow.